Greetings and welcome to another edition of Alusine Multicultural Family Consulting. This episode today has two-part series. The first part had to do with conflict and its resolution. And the second part, which is today, has to do with a pastoral community approach to conflict. Well, usually you tell where you were before you say or think about where you might be going. During the last episode, I defined conflict. The idea is that conflict is inevitable as long as you're dealing with someone other than yourself. There is gonna be conflict. The independence, the interdependence, the incompatibility, the interference is what we call conflict. We also address the positive and the negative aspects of conflict and how conflict is viewed in intercultural and in relational communication. Today's approach is basically more of a spiritual approach to conflict. When it comes to conflict, from a spiritual point of view, sometimes it has to do with whether we have positive or negative feelings about ourselves, about others, and our relationship to God, our Creator. So one way to deal with conflict is to attack those negative feelings. There is a theory in pastoral community counseling called over-scrupulosity. Over-scrupulosity is, the tendency, to blame the self, those guilt feelings, those self-defeating feelings. So a way to develop conflict resolution is to look at the rewards and those cherishing behaviors. Conflict management strategies mean you have a goal you want to achieve. And sometimes conflict management strategies have to do with your emotional state, how you feel about the situation. And sometimes conflict management strategies have to do with your cognitive assessment of the situation. Much of conflict resolution, some say, is based on personality. Some people are extroverts, some are introverts, some are sensitive, some are feeling, some are thinking, some are intuitive. So the personality sometimes affects how we deal with conflict on an emotional, on a cognitive, or on an intellectual level. Conflict resolution works if it is contextual, the situation based. And sometimes we learn how we deal with conflicts from our peers, from our families, the family genograms. But no matter how we view conflict, sometimes it results in a win-lose, or sometimes it results in a win-win strategy. So there are some who avoid and some who fight when it comes to conflict. Some will hammer until the other gives in. Some will literally silence the other. Some will take responsibility for their thoughts and feelings. Some will engage emotions. A good way to deal with conflict and resolution is to talk, listen, openness, empathy, positivity. Act on the role of the listener. Express support and empathy. State your thoughts and your feelings. So rather than engage in verbal aggressiveness or psychological pain, it's good to argue. It's good to speak our minds. It's good to talk about significant issues. It's good to reason. It's good to engage in critical thinking. So a good way to resolve conflict is to treat disagreements objectively. Avoid attacking the other person. Reaffirm the competence of the other. Avoid interrupting. Stress equality. So, conflict, in a sense, when it comes to relationships, you either confirm or you disconfirm. When you disconfirm, you ignore the presence or the thoughts of the other person. When you confirm, you acknowledge the uniqueness of the other person. And when we confirm, it's a way to problem solve. It's a way to have mutual respect. It's a way to have rapport. So there are many ways to deal with conflict when it happens. Some stress avoidance, a lose-lose approach. Some stress accommodation, a lose-win approach. Some stress competition, a win-lose approach. Some stress compromise, which is a win-lose, lose-win approach. And some stress collaboration, which is a win-win. When all of those don't work, sometimes it's good to get a third party to do mediation or to do arbitration. Sometimes conflict is based on individual differences. So a good way to deal with conflict is to be calm and to build mutual respect. Keep people and problems separate is another approach. Pay attention to the interests that are being presented. And sometimes it's good to listen first and to talk second. Sometimes a good approach to listening is to stop talking. So it's good to be objective. It's good to weigh the decision. whether it will have positive impact, and so on. So my conclusion on the topic of conflict from many perspectives is that sometimes it's good to not internalize negative feelings and ideas. It's good not to impose physical, mental, or sexual abuse by imposing force, when it comes to conflict. It's good to be emotionally intelligent, to express our feelings, our thoughts. It's good not to use emotional blackmail or abusive behaviors. In conflict resolution, it's good to fight fairly. It's good to express your needs, your concerns. It's good to have a problem solution orientation and to have empathy for others. So finally, conflict can mean many things, but we can look at its definitions. We can look at the idea that conflict can be good and bad, and the many causes of conflict. But in terms of behaviors, conflict works when we are not too passive. If you are passive, sometimes other people make decisions for you. If you are too overly aggressive, in some cases you intimidate others. But if you are assertive, it means you respect other people's rights, and you expect other people to respect your rights. That's a good approach to take when it comes to conflict and its resolution. It's good to affirm the uniqueness of the other person. It's good to have a positive outlook. And sometimes conflict works well if it's lose-lose or if it's win-lose, but it works well if it creates a win-win situation. So again, I ask you to resolve this minor conflict I have, which is I want you to subscribe to YouTube. All you do is say, Dr. Alusine Kanu. I thank you for your time. So that concludes episode 1 on conflict and its resolution, and episode 2, a pastoral community approach. When it's spiritual, it's reasonable, and it affirms our common humanity. So once more, I thank you for listening to me. May God bless you, and the best of luck to you.